Hey guys, welcome to another bunker hobby tip. So, I have one of the things that really not frustrates me, but it does get me when you see gaps in models. And lots of people, you build the kits, and the kits are really good now. You know, I remember back in the day, so to speak, when it was filing bits of metal off to fill gaps and all this sort of thing. But unfortunately, even the best kits, they do end up with a bit of a gap. And there's not much you can do about this. You know, it's just it is what it is, so to speak. So, one of the sort of real questions is, what do we do about it? And you know what? Hey, you can paint them and play with them, and no one's going to say, "Oh, you've got a gap in your model. Get off my board." No one's going to say that. But I'm just a bit of a perfectionist, really. So I'm going to use Citadel's liquid green stuff. Now, you don't have to use liquid green stuff. Essentially, it is a epoxy resin that sets, and it's just the same as. Let me just go in my little hobby box. This stuff, which is 2-part needite, is essentially this mixed in a liquid form with a drying time. Okay, so I'm also going to use a very, a very loved rubber brush. Now a rubber brush, I encourage you to get these. I think they're for painting, things like that. Imagine like canvas painting, not miniature painting, but I use it because it's just a flexible sort of tip. And all I'm going to do, dead easy, I'm going to open my liquid green stuff, and it's well loved, this pot of liquid green stuff. I'm going to get some on the end of my rubber brush, okay? And I'm literally just going to go up to that gap, okay? And I'm going to fill it in. And I'm going to go over it a bit as well, you know? I'm going to go over where it joins. And I'll show you the reason for this in a second. I'm going to get all the way across. And using the rubber brush, I can just guide it into the hole, okay? All the way up. Going towards the gap. And over the gap, okay? Down this side here as well, because I don't want to totally do the details. So the beauty of a rubber brush is I can actually get into that detail and make sure I'm not clearing it out, okay? Over again, because at the end of the day I want this to be smooth. Okay, so I've gone up there, and as you can see I've sort of filled up to the gap, and I've filled up to that gap line. And think about this as to what it's going to look like when it's painted, okay? As you go down the gap now, it's filled, okay? So obviously I've got a lot of excess there, a lot of excess green stuff. And guys, you know, there's all these tools and all this sort of thing. You can't be just running your finger down it. Yeah? Wash your hands, obviously, afterwards, but, and then just over the top, okay? I know it looks slightly unfilled, but can you see now how that gap is filled up to the edges? And when that's painted, particularly when we've got a base coat on it, you won't have a gap there anymore. And the paint works wonders, it really does. But what that's done is that's filled the majority of that large gap. So that's a quick video on gap filling. You don't have to use liquid green stuff. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant thing, but let's never forget it was developed for the fiasco that was fine cast. And to fill all the bubbles in that. But hey, it's a good little epoxy. You can get lots of other ones. Vallejo do a good one as well, which I've used in the past. But that's great. That's gap filling. I'm going to leave that for a day just to totally dry. It's not a day's drying time, but I always like to just be thorough. And then if it has receded a little bit, and it shrinks when it dries, so if it has receded a little bit, you can just go over the top again, and keep filling those gaps until you're happy with them. So that's another hobby tip. Thanks for watching, and more to come. Happy hobbying.